Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of HBO's original It. Welcome to Derry, episode 5, and this is finally, after 5 long weeks, it feels like, but not long in a bad way, not like painful weeks of watching television, but we've all been sitting on the edge of our chairs every Sunday evening waiting for the reveal of Pennywise. Yes, we've gotten multiple forms of it per se every episode, and it has been tasty good. But we all want it. We all want Pennywise the Dancing Clown, and we got him finally in episode 5, and once again portrayed by Bill Skarsgård, who portrayed Pennywise in the two most recent film adaptations of it. Episode 4 left us with a lot to mull over for the past week. We got the encounter with Halloran and Taniel, where he went into Taniel's mind to find the location of where the entity is, and we also got the Maddie and Lily encounter. We was left off with that, with Maddie seeing it, actually being infected by it to the point to where she tried to cut her eyes out, and you had that left on a bit of a cliffhanger because it appeared that the children who walked in and saw what was going on, that Lily was the one that attacked Maddie. So, or Marge. Oh, I believe it's Marge. I keep saying Maddie. Maddie's on the brain because there's a lot there to digest in episode 5. But Marge is the one with the eyes. So we were left with a lot. And we also left last week where Hank told Charlotte that he was having an affair with not only a married woman, but a married white woman, which is worse than killing children in this country. So there's that big element. So a lot of questions were raised in episode 4, and crazy enough, we got a few answers in this episode, but we also have more questions, but exciting questions nonetheless, coming out of episode 5. The biggest one is the biggest twist of this episode, and it doesn't happen at the end. It actually happened in the cold open, the very opening sequence of this episode, where our losers group are meeting in their secret spot, and they notice that there's a tent in that little balcony area, wherever it is that they meet up at. And who emerges from the tent? Well, I spoiled it earlier. It's none other than Maddie. Maddie is alive, or is he? I have my doubts because it's kind of it's a little curious as to somebody escaping the upside down, but not upside down. This isn't Stranger Things, but the sewer area, where they float. Um, so it's kind of curious that he just escaped, but whatever. I'm gonna go with what they telling me, even though in the back of my mind I know it's got to be more to it, because they didn't show him dying in the first episode like they showed the other children dying. So there is a possibility, but in the matter that he was attacked, it appeared that he died. But whatever, they telling me he's alive. Fine, I'm gonna run with it for now. But he's alive, and he tells Lily that not only him, but there are others who are still alive down in the sewers, and he doesn't want to go to the police because he rather go be with it than go back by his father. How bad of a relationship or living condition that that young man was experiencing in his home, where he rather go down with this alien that feeds on your fears and eat you alive than go back by your paw. That's some that's scarier than it, to be honest with you. I was more disturbed by that than anything that happened in this episode. And that's scary, man. But nonetheless, he that's how much fear he has to go home. Let's not forget that in the beginning episode, the first episode, he was running away from home. That's how he got caught up in the situation that he's in, because he was running away from his home. And so I guess in his mind, he was good. That could be a reason why he escaped, because it couldn't have been worse than where he comes from in his house. That's crazy to me, but it's actually true though, because there's people, children and women and whoever who go through situations like that. And so my heart goes out to him. But nonetheless, back to the show, we get the scene where Hank is being transported to Shawshank. He's being brought onto the bus to go to Shawshank. And here's a little tidbit for everybody. In the year that they're in, where this show is set in the same time as the Shawshank Redemption. And so technically, right now, he can go and be with Red and Dufresne. He can go to Shawshank and be with them, because they're there. They're currently at Shawshank. And so I was looking forward to that, to be honest. I thought maybe we'll get a reference to that. Like somebody would say, "Oh, you'll be all right. Just see Red when you get there," or something like that. I thought we was gonna get a little shout out like that, but we didn't. We didn't get it. That would have been cute. But he's being transported earlier than expected, because Charlotte was there to see him go. I believe they moved it up a day or something like that. But while they were there, before he can get on the bus, one of the parents of the children that was murdered tried to assassinate Hank before he got on the bus, but the police stopped him. And he promised to kill him, and understandably so, because he's being told that this is the man responsible for the death of his child. And so if you put yourself in those shoes, I'll put myself in those shoes, I probably would have did the same thing. Well, it wouldn't have been a probably. I would have did the same thing. But what's creepy about this part of the show was Charlotte saw this creepy looking cop staring out of this glass, out of this window in the door inside of the jail, in his kind of a adaptation of a Pennywise smile. And so Charlotte technically saw Pennywise, or saw it. And so now it has touched every member of that family. You know, it has affected Will. It has affected Leroy. Now it has made contact with Charlotte. So now the whole family has been affected. At this point, Leroy, he's upset with the commanding officer there. Like, why did my family come? Why you brought me here? This is a dangerous situation, and my family isn't. You put my family in danger. And oh boy, I can't think of his name now, but Francis tells him, like, look, the plan was to bring your family on base. You chose otherwise. You chose to give him a house and give him all this other stuff to try to live this happy, normal life. So now Leroy is like, okay, I'm going to bring the family to the base to be safe, where they're safe at. Quote, heavy quotations over that. Of course, this doesn't sit right with Will, because now he feels he's abandoning his friends, So we know that he's going to sneak off the base, and he indeed does that later on in this episode. Now we move over to Rose. Now Rose has come looking for her nephew, who is Daniel, who they have captured, and they've mind jumped with Dick. And so now she's looking for him. She goes to Francis, and Francis confesses that, look, I lied. I didn't. It wasn't when I first came back to Derry where my memory came back. They did the government, that is, did some experiments, or had me take this drug or whatever, a few years ago, and everything came back. And that's how I knew to come back and look for this entity to save the country, all for the good of the red, white, and blue. And try to harness this power. And so Rose is like, you can't, you can't, you can't, you can't put this on a leash. You can't train this to do your bidding, but that's the arrogance. That's the arrogance of this country. There's some people really believe that they can control anything and everything. To be honest with you, a certain contingent. Not everybody in this country. America's great, but there's a large contingent of people who believe this, that they can control everything, or have everything do the bidding of, in the name of this country, or in worst cases in the name of God, which is blasphemy for one, but it's completely ridiculous. But yeah, they believe that they can control this and use this entity to eliminate their enemies. But Rose, of course, knows better, and she knows that this isn't going to go well. And so she asks us to speak to Daniel, and brings the piece of the shard that it can be used as a defense against the entity, and gives it to Daniel for when they go exploring these sewers looking for the entity. So now at this point, Will, he's didn't run away, but he found a way to get away and go meet up with his friends. At the same time, Charlotte hears on the news that the bus that Frank was on, not Frank, Hank was on, crashed on his way to Shawshank, and Hank escaped. Oddly enough, I think he's the only one that escaped. They didn't name anybody else, but I think he's the only one that escaped off that bus. And so now she's panicking, nervous. She being Charlotte, trying to find out what's going on with Hank, because he's going to be in more trouble than he's already in. And so here's where it gets juicy. Here's where the soap opera comes in. That we come to find out, Ingrid, the nurse that's from Jupiter Hero that works, or at least is friends with our young lead, Lily. She, played by Madeline Stowe, who still amazes me that she didn't age. She doesn't age. She doesn't age. But come to find out that the woman he's having an affair with, the white married woman he's having an affair with, is Ingrid. Which is interesting, because I was wondering where Ingrid was going to come into play. What was the purpose of this character? I thought that she was, and it still could play out this way, I thought that she was the young, well, not the young, but she, that character was that young clown in that flashback with Francis going to the carnival. I thought that maybe she was Pennywise's daughter, and because she was just too nice, too nice to be on this show. She just didn't fit Derry. I know it was something kind of fishy about her character, which it still could play into that. I'm not scratching that off of my off of my bingo card just yet. I think that's still in play. But as for now, she is having an affair with Hank, and I don't blame Hank. Madeline Stowe is beautiful. But anyways, the military, they converge on the house. They're about to enter the sewer system through the house. And at the same time, our losers group, they have decided to go after the entity and rescue the children that are still alive down there, according to Maddie. And so Lily, she took some mommy's helpers, which we know is Valium, but she took some of mommy's helpers that they can take, that can combat the fear. At least so they think. as they go down there. So they go down into the sewers as well. And this was a very tense part of the show, especially for Halloran, who had a flash of his childhood with his. Well, I don't know if it's childhood or not, but a flashback with his grandmother and his grandfather being a complete and utter. I don't even know how to describe him, but he just an evil. He's an evil individual, and so we get that big encounter there. So he gets lost. He gets detached from the group. Another portion of the group, they see their biggest fears, and it was none other than a manifestation of Uncle Sam, which was funny to me. That made me laugh because if that's your fear, if Uncle Sam is your fear, and you're in the military, that tells me one of two things. One, you was drafted and you didn't want to be in the military, or you foresee that the government is full of caca, and you you don't want. But whatever it is, you're afraid of the government, and that just put the fear of God in them, and they ultimately were taken out. We see a couple of encounters with Leroy, with the entity when he sees a manifestation of his wife, and his co-runner, his boy, what's his name, Paulie, who's been by his side since the beginning of the show. He's with him. He's looking around. He's like, what are you looking at? You know, he doesn't see the entity. And so, but what makes it, I'm a little confused by, is the fact that we know that Leroy he doesn't have that gene. He doesn't have the ability to fear. And so, how does he see this entity? You know, because it's supposed to manifest if you have a fear. And he showed a lot of fear in that tunnel. Now, that being said, it was his family. You know, it was his wife. And he was second guessing his son later on. And so I guess the fear of protecting his family and keeping them safe, that's something that's a fear of his, which it should be as a husband and a father. But I'm just a little confused by the rules of this manifestation thing, because we never saw Paulie have any visions. We only saw Leroy have visions, and it was just that one with his wife. But anywho's, we move on to the children, and here's where the big twist comes in at. Like I mentioned earlier with Maddie, didn't trust Maddie, didn't trust him from jump, and rightfully so. We come to find out that Maddie was actually a manifestation of Pennywise. He was a manifestation of it to lead the kids down into the sewer. And then we get the crescendo. We get the full reveal of Pennywise the Dancing Clown. It felt good to see him. It felt good to see him this episode. He did the job. He did his job. It was it. And Pennywise really struck fear into those children as well as everybody else. Everybody, I hate clowns. And so it did his job. And the kids, they run off, proving that the pills didn't work. Mommy's little helpers wasn't strong enough, even though they took 3 of them. At least it didn't work in the way that they wanted to. They got good and loaded, but it didn't take away their fears, unfortunately. As they run off, Will, he's first in line. He's running, and he's the first to see his father. He runs into his father, Leroy, and Paulie. Leroy points the gun at him, believing that he's a manifestation, because in his mind, there's no way his son can be down in his sewer. You know, there's no way on earth that he could be down in his sewer. And so he's about to shoot him, and Paulie has a revelation. He's like, wait, I can see him too. And so if I can see him too, it's real. And so before Leroy pulled the trigger, he actually jumped in front of the bullet and literally took the bullet. Uh, that was heartbreaking. No pun intended, being as though Paulie got shot in the chest. But it was heartbreaking because at first I'm like, man, they really gonna kill Will? They really gonna have this man kill his son like this, you know? And then it dawned on me, I'm like, well, Will gotta survive because Will is the father of the character from the It that we know from the movies. So he has to live, you know, if we're gonna follow canon. And so that was quickly expelled. But then I'm like, well, who is he gonna shoot? Is he gonna shoot one of the other children or something like that? Man, they're gonna shoot. They killing kids like it's nothing on this show. You know, that ran across my mind. But Paulie took the bullet, and his final words to Leroy was "make it count," which is heartbreaking, man, because that was his best friend. You know, that was his ride or die, and he literally died in that sewer, taking that bully, and took it and didn't fault him, didn't get mad, didn't curse the man out, like you killed me, you know, can't believe you shot me. No, he did it. He did the right thing, and so we go back to Lily, and she's left behind. She's lost in the sewer. Uh, Remembered because she tripped and fell. Typical horror trope. Trip and fell and got separated from the group. Now she's crying out, and nobody could hear her but Pennywise. And he shows up and he begins to taunt her, say, "Oh, you couldn't save Matty Boy." And so he turns into her mangled dad, then turns back into Pennywise. I mean, shoot, he was messing with her. He was about to tear her apart. But just before he reaches her, it's like he hit a brick wall. He couldn't go any further. He was stuck. He was literally stuck. And the reason he couldn't move, we see the glowing dagger that was right there in the water, right between Lily and Pennywise. So Pennywise backs off and leave. Lily picks it up. This is the same dagger that Taniel had. So she has it now, not fully realizing what she has, but what she does have is their best weapon against Pennywise. So we go back to the base. Leroy, he is explaining what happened in the sewer and how Paulie died. And Shaw walks in and gives his condolences. And meanwhile, we did. I don't know if that scene came before or after, but the scene where Ingrid, she encounters Hank. And she encounters Hank, and that's when we find out that they are indeed having an affair. Hank doesn't know what to do. He tells Ingrid there's somebody that can help. And so when we get back, so it had to be before. So when we get back to the base, and Ingrid has requested to speak to Charlotte because Hank sent her there to speak to Charlotte to see if she can help. And in the last shot of the episode, we see Halloran walking out of the tunnels. The military, the guys, they don't know where he is. They can't find him. But we see him walking out of the tunnels. He's stunned. He's worn down. He doesn't know where he's at, basically. And he starts to hear movement in the trees. And suddenly he sees another soldier walking ahead of him. And so when they turn around, it's Paulie. And we know that Paulie's dead. And his eyes are glowing white. And so the last shot, we see that box that his grandfather was holding that he wanted opened and that he broke the lock on. All his secrets or whatever it was, his fears that he keeps in the box, I guess in his mind, we see that that box is wide open and the episode goes off. This was great. I am enjoying this show more than I really expected to enjoy it. I thought it was just going to be decent, and look, I know we still have what 4 or 5 episodes to go. The wheels could fall off. It could it could fall off very quickly. But as of right now, 5 episodes in, this has been a joy. Every episode has delivered for me. I think that this wasn't the best so far, but it is doggone good. I really love the structure of this show. Um, how everything is unfolding, the twists, the turns, the scares, the acting, the writing, the interconnection of all of Stephen King's works. Everything is just spot on to me, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. Welcome to Derry so far. I want to know, what are your thoughts of the show? 5 episodes in, do you think that the show is hitting, or do you think it's eh? All right. I look. It's all subjective. I'm not going to judge you if you don't feel strongly about it as much as I do. I know that everything isn't for everyone, but I would love to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of It. Welcome to Derry, episode 5. Please come back next week as we review episode 6. And before we get to episode 6, we know that Thanksgiving is falling in between. And so I just want to be one of the first, if not the first, to wish everyone out there a happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you enjoy your holiday. I hope that everybody puts on an extra 15 pounds for all the eating of the turkey and the ham and the all that good stuff this Thursday, and the leftovers you're gonna have for the next week. Enjoy. I'm thankful for all of you. I thank you for joining me on these reviews. I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.